Kathy, unmute.
Good morning. Now my voice works. This is Charity's Patched Up Team, regular Wednesday morning Q&A time, and then we also throw in a little bit of training. And so today, Craig and I, this is my husband Craig, hello, and we're going to be doing a few things this morning. The title of this was How is Your Health and How is Your Wealth? And those are two major topics that everybody has, whoever they are, wherever they are, whatever country they're in. That's the two things probably that are at the top of everybody's list. And so I wanted to just go over some really quick things. And then I have a special guest that we're going to add in here. And she's a little bit nervous. I'm probably a little bit nervous, but so let's just talk about steps to better health. And, one of the things is that people think they're going to put on a patch and all their troubles are going to go away. Or they think if I go to the gym, I'm going to go every day for 3 hours. It's an unrealistic goal, And so when you put these patches on, you need to give your body, it took a lot of time to get your body into the place that it's in. And one of the things I'm going to talk about with Addie is what did she change about her health? Like we know we shouldn't be consuming large amounts of sugar, right? Or does everybody know that? Does anybody not know that? I mean, I don't care who it is now, they say don't consume large amounts of sugar. And so we know those things. We know that we're supposed to be drinking water. And there's a wonderful video by Barbara O'Neill. She's a naturalist, and she does a wonderful video on salt and water. And I highly recommend it because all my life, people said, you need to drink water, you need to drink water, you need to drink water, and half your body weight in water. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, you're just flushing your kidneys and you're washing out all your minerals. And so she really explains about having the right kind of salt and how we need that. And in the morning, I've changed some things about our life. We used to get up and drink a lot of coffee in the morning. Now I take some salt, some Celtic salt on our tongue, both of us, and we make ourselves drink a big glass of water before we'll let ourselves have a cup of coffee. And we've cut our coffee consumption in half. So there's those practical things that we all know that we should be doing. If you have terrible knees and you're just in pain all the time because of your knees, and then you go out and play with your grandkids or your kids on the trampoline, you know, probably that's not going to help your knees to get better. So those practical things is what I wanted to talk about. And so there was a program when I was young. Some of you might remember it was called Romper Room. And on Romper Room, she used to say, do be a do be and don't be a don't be. And so basically that means do what you know to do and don't do what you know not to do. And that is a hard thing in life because, especially the American culture, we have so much available to us in the line of food and the line of everything and the line of drugs and the line, we have all those things. So listen to your body when you know not to do something. I know not to eat a lot of sugar. Sugar gives me headaches now. And but I like ice cream. So once in a while I'll treat myself to ice cream, realizing, you know what, I might have a headache afterwards. And so I know not to do that. So I'm not saying you can't ever do anything that you enjoy. I'm just saying realize that some of those things are direct proportion to how you're going to feel.
And the patch isn't going to just fix those things if you
Yeah.
keep on doing all the
That's
wrong
right.
things.
If you put a patch on and you're hoping your body's going to detox and you're going to get some of those toxins out of your body, but you're putting them in faster than they're going out, probably not going to help you. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to introduce Addie Moore. Addie Moore is on my team, and she has been such a blessing in every way. And every time I talk to her, learn a little bit more. So we're actually going to put her into a two-part series here this morning. First, we're going to just quiz her about her health. So Addie, if you would just talk a little bit, yeah, unmute, you did, and just talk a little bit about your health journey. If you feel comfortable telling your age range, and let's just get a little bit of those basics from you
Sure.
about your health.
Thank you. I'm 69, so there's no range. I'm 69. And I have a myriad of health issues, and I had learned about the patches about a year ago. But I am what they call Iowa stubborn. And so I didn't believe any of the testimonies that I was hearing. And I also happened to live for many, many years in a city where one of the largest MLM worldwide marketing companies is headquartered. And I had this horrendous bias against anything to do with network marketing. And I assumed incorrectly, but I believed it with everything in me, that it was snake oil. And so everything that people said, I had biblical level stubbornness about believing what they were telling me.
And what was your health condition while you're in this state?
Um, I needed knee replacement surgery on both knees. I'm overweight. I had blood pressure issues. I had cholesterol issues. I had digestive and elimination issues. I had chewing issues. There wasn't a part of my body that wasn't impacted. So, about 3 months ago, I heard God tell me, I want you to start using these patches. Well, that started an argument with him. Like, God, excuse me, you know everything. You know this is snake oil. Why are you telling me to do this? Like, no. But I also understand that when you argue with God, it's wise to let him win. So I agreed that because I was almost 70 and I knew that you had to wear them at least 1 month for every decade that you were old, that I would wear them for 7 months. But that was it. I wasn't going to do anything else. I would wear them for 7 months. And somehow he kind of snuck in there that if I was going to be spending all this money on these patches, it might behoove me to give up my addiction to Coke Zero and Diet Coke. And when I say I was addicted, I could drink 6, 7, 8, 9 refills at any dinner table. Like, it was bad. But it's like, okay, don't put junk into your body when you're going to be working hard to get junk out of your body. So I started wearing the patches and I gave up my beloved Coke Zero. And is it okay to just go into my testimony now?
Yeah, let's
Okay.
let's hear what they're doing for you.
Buckle your seatbelts, people, because this is so exciting. It's what God has done is just truly miraculous for me. So within about 3 days, I started feeling much more energetic. And that was amazing because literally all I was doing was sitting. And I was blaming myself that I was being lazy. And, and as soon as I had more energy, I started doing more things. And it's like, okay, that was the enemy telling me I was lazy. I just literally couldn't, but 3 days. And after about 30 days, my friends would say to me, you look so much different. You look so much better. Your complexion is so much better. And you have life. Your countenance has life now. And it's like, okay, thank you. That's wonderful. I had horrendous jaw pain in my left jaw. It hurt so much that it was starting to hurt me to talk, just to open your mouth enough to talk. And they'd had to do all of these special tests to ensure I didn't have bone cancer in my jaw. Within 30 days, no pain whatsoever in my jaw. I hadn't been able to chew on the left side of my mouth. I couldn't even gum mashed potatoes on my left side without shooting nerve pain. And within 30 days, that all went away. I can now chew steak, tortilla chips, it doesn't matter, on the left side of my mouth. I had gum infections on the right side of my mouth. That all cleared up. I was so sensitive to different temperatures, literally not even room temperature. Room temperature would send my nerves shooting. It had to be mouth temperature or I couldn't handle it. I can have ice cream now. All of that sensitivity went away. Um, I don't know if you can see,
Yeah.
I had a large age spot the size of 2 quarters on my wrist here. Do you see anything at all? It's completely gone. All the age spots on my hand are fading. Like, and that was just stuff like I'm going, okay, God, I have bigger issues than that. If you want to do that, that's great. But could we get to some of the other important things, please? And one of the bigger things I had was that I had injured my rotator cuff and I couldn't sleep on that side. And that was my favorite side to sleep on. And after 30 days, I was able to sleep on that side again. Now, it's not completely healed yet. I still don't have the range of motion. I still have pain. I always wear the X39 on that shoulder. But I have hope now that eventually, like Craig did, I will get, full healing there. Um, my blood pressure. I had been on medication for a year, hadn't done anything. After 60 days now, I've been able to cut my blood pressure medication in half. And I am confident that within a few more months, God will enable me to be able to be off of it completely. And the same thing with my cholesterol. I have the cholesterol levels of an athlete. People would kill for my numbers right now. And even with medication before, that was not the case. So he is just doing so many things through these patches. Um, Another big thing for me is that I've noticed now, after I'm on the start of my 3rd month, halfway through it, that my appetite is changing. And I am not as hungry. I can't eat as much. I've started losing weight just very slowly, like maybe a half a pound a week or so. But I'll take it. I'm not doing anything different. I just don't want to eat as much as I used to. So that's a miracle.
Yes.
I had horrendous acid reflux symptoms that I had to not only be on medication for, but supplement with Tums and things like that. The Tums are all gone. I don't need to use those anymore. This one is a little bit gross, and I apologize, but it has been a life-changing thing for me. And I'll have to hold back tears when I tell you the story because of how impactful it's been for me. For 2 years prior to starting the patches, I had not had a normal bowel movement. I only had explosive diarrhea every time. And if I didn't go to the bathroom and get there within a nanosecond of realizing that I had to go, I didn't make it. And I had accidents at home. I had accidents in public. It was just miserable, embarrassing. I mean, there was nothing, it was horrible. Within 30 days of being only on X39, all of that went away completely, completely. Life changing. I also had trouble with frequency of urination and urgency. If I didn't get to the bathroom immediately, there was an accident. I can hold my pee for 4 hours now. And I'm drinking 96 ounces of water every single day. It's amazing. But this is where God really did life-changing things for me. So I think I told you that I needed knee surgery on both of my knees. I had knee surgery on the left side, but the recovery did not go at all as anyone would have anticipated or hoped. And as a result of that, my gait started changing. That made my back started having intense pain, made my hips starting having intense pain, to the point that my doctor gave me handicap license plates for my car. I couldn't stand for more than 5 minutes. I couldn't walk for more than 5 or 10 minutes. I was living the life practically of a shut-in, and I'm not old enough to be living like that, right? Within 30 days, I couldn't walk upstairs the right way. Okay. I couldn't walk downstairs the right way. after about 30 days, I was standing at the bottom of my stairs and I heard God say to me, I want you to try walking upstairs the right way. And it's like, okay, because when he speaks, you know it's him. And I could. I had not been able to do that for 2 years since before my surgery. I still can't walk down the right way yet, but I'm working on taking the bottom step or two. And the little tiny word yet, 3 little letters, is now one of the biggest words in my vocabulary because now I can say, not yet, but there's hope for what he is going to do. I couldn't do it before. I can't do it yet, but I believe and hope now that it's only a temporary thing. So within 60 days, I was able to stand for double and triple the length that I could stand before. I can now, are you ready for this? Walk on the treadmill for 40 minutes. Like,
Yay.
that's unbelievable. But the very best part is because it's what cascaded everything else is after 2 months, my gait has started correcting itself. My gait is going back to the way that it used to be. And I don't walk fast, but I got to tell you, I walk faster than all the other friends my age. I have to wait for them to catch up to me. I have to slow down to let them catch up to me. So all of those things are, to me, true biblical miracles because I had been through everything that medicine could give to me. And PT had given up on me. They didn't know how to help me anymore. And here I am walking on the treadmill for 40 minutes and my gait's improved. Most of the time I don't use the handicap sticker anymore to park. I have to train myself to find a regular parking space. But I don't need it most of the time anymore.
Oh, that's just so great, Addie. And I have a couple of questions I want to ask you, and you can pass or claim the fifth or whatever you want to. But you use that term yet, and I do think that's a wonderful thing to say that. And so tell me, do you have any yets that you haven't seen any improvement in?
My diabetes has not gotten any improvement yet. I just started earlier this week on carnosine, and so I'm hoping that that will help. But that is one thing that has been pretty stubborn.
Okay. Tell me your patch journey. I know the people want to know, well, what are you wearing? What have you decided? How do you do it? So tell us.
Well, I listened to, of course, David Schmidt, and he talked about the Fab Five and the 5 patches that he wears every day. And I went, self, if it's good enough for David, it's good enough for you. So I started for the first 30 days just on X39 alone. That was all I wore. And then at the start of the second month, I added Eon during the day and Olavita at night. And then at the start of the third month, I added glutathione. And then, like I said, just this week, a couple days ago, I added carnosine. And next month, I'll be adding X49 into the mix.
So as you add those in, a lot of us, you add a patch on and you don't really know, do I feel anything from this? I just got done listening to a chiropractor who was involved with LifeWave right at the beginning 20 years ago. And so he was all into all the other patches and everything. And then when the X39 came out, he said, whoa, the X39 alone can do so much of what all those individual patches are doing. So for all of our benefit, and as you keep track, and when you add in those new patches, see if there's some additional thing that you notice that's happening. We're all going to be very interested.
Right.
So how about your sleep? That's the thing that almost everybody talks about. Are you sleeping better?
I am. I am. Yeah. It's not been as dramatic as it has been for some people, but I had pretty severe insomnia. I could go 3 days in a row without literally a minute of sleep. And now I sleep every single night. So,
Okay. And how
yeah.
about your overall mood? Because I think most of us would say you just because you sleep better, you wake up and you feel better.
Right.
Any mood
I,
change?
yes, I had to, I have to be honest, before the patch, I could literally feel my body dying. Literally. It's like every day something else was going wrong. And I was pretty mired in despair. Um, and I would cry out to God, but I didn't have any hope at all. I really didn't. And seeing what God is doing with this, I have so much hope now, and my outlook is so much brighter, and my faith has increased so much just because of the journey that I've been on with this. So yeah, it's made a
That's
big
great.
difference to me. People see it and they notice it in me.
Yeah. Yeah. And for those of you that know me, my new motto is pray and patch. And I really think that those two things really, really go together well. And haven't heard anybody say, that didn't help me at all. So we all need any help we can get. Thanks so much, Addie. I know that there's a lot of personal sharing that's not always easy to do with a crowd, maybe that you don't particularly know, but I appreciate you doing that. So I want to move into the next section. So
Well,
don't go. Okay,
may
go
I
ahead.
add one thing? There's been one negative downside to my wearing the patches. I have to shave my legs now. I didn't have to do that before.
Yeah, the prices you pay for
Right.
getting younger, right? Yeah, yeah. So the second part of this today is how's your wealth? And we all know that if you're wearing the patches and they're helping your health, and that's all you care about, that's all we care about. Nobody's ever going to push you into doing it. It's where LifeWave business is so much different than some of the other companies where you have to carry a large stock of stuff in your home so you can sell it. And, there is just no pressure in this business. But there are some wonderful benefits to the compensation plan. So Craig is my math person, and I've asked him to just kind of talk a little bit about the wealth part of the LifeWave business.
Can't tell you what an exciting thing it is to be a math person. Uh, uh, Wealth is a question. The first thing you have to ask is how important is financial gain to you? Because there are basically, I find, three groups of people. The first one is, you know what, I'm rolling in dough. I need some health fixes, but I don't need any money, and they're perfectly happy paying for the patches because they're not that expensive, and they don't want to talk to anybody or do anything, and so wealth in terms of financial gain from LifeWave is not an important thing to them. They just want to buy the patches and wear them. Then you've got the people who say, well, it's important for me to get my health back. And you know what? I'm not making all that much money. So if I could pay for my patches, that would really be wonderful. So they're interested in making some gains in financially. And then you run into the group of people who say, I'm out of work, or I really want to have a job change. And they dive in and they come in at the diamond level and they want 19 sleeves of patches, and they're going to sell them and talk to people. And that's all wonderful. So you, first of all, have to get practical about what is your motivation. Do you have that big motivation for wealth, or do you have a little motivation, or are you not interested? And like Kathy said, if all you do is wear the patches and get feeling better, that's plenty. Well, that makes us happy. So the next thing is
See your notes?
yeah, see, my next thing is to see my notes. uh, there are several questions that you get asked when you get into this business. Well, one of them is what do I say? And one of the best answer for that is as little as possible. You want to generate some interest in people if you want them to come in and be part of your team, but we have a tendency to spill way too much information on them. So say as little as possible, just generate interest in them, and then point them in the right place. And what the next question, Dan? Well, what are the people that I'm going to introduce, and what do they need? And my basic thing is you need to have some enthusiasm. And you get that not just by wearing the patches, but by gaining some belief in them. And there's two ways to gain belief in them. One is to watch things like this and listen to Addie and see what it's done for her, seeing what other people have benefited from it. And the other one is wear them yourself and get your own testimony. I've got several things that are wonderful that have happened to me, and so I don't have any trouble at all talking about the patches to people. The next thing that people get asked about is, what do I send to people? Well, I think there's two main things to send. And from my opinion, there's two main things to send. Get them to go to startx39.com and watch and learn from that. The second thing I encourage people to send to them is the Business at a Glance. I think Charity did a wonderful job with Business at a Glance. And there's two great videos on there, and there's all kinds of helps and aids in there. So I think those are the two best things you can send to people. The next thing is, what do I need to do? No, excuse me. What do they need to do? One is they need to wear the patch. Two is they need to duplicate what you do. And three is they need to do what's right for them. I always tell people, this needs to be duplicatable, but we're not all the same. There are some things that there are some leaders that they do that I couldn't do if I wanted to. There are some things that I do that they couldn't do. And so you have to be comfortable with what you're doing. And last thing is what's now? Well, what's now is get started. You'll never make any money in this business if you don't get started doing it. And you'll never get better health if you don't start wearing the patches. So the best thing to do is just get started. When it comes to benefits, financial benefits, one of the main financial benefits that almost nobody thinks about is there's benefits in taxes. Let's say you have a spouse that makes all kinds of money and you pay huge taxes. If you have a home-based business, there's a gal named Courtney Epps who did a TED Talk that was called "Why You Would Be Brain Dead Not to Do a Home-Based Business." And the reality is even if you do the home-based business and you lose money, the tax benefits will benefit you so much that you'll end up making money just by having a losing business. So you'd be brain dead not to have a home-based business.
So is this like a 1099 business?
Yeah, it's a 1099 business we're talking about here. So I first of all, financially, you can benefit through tax benefits. The second way, and most people, and the quickest way to get involved in this business is through enrollment bonuses. I think most of you all know that anytime you enroll a brand partner, you're going to get paid by the company. If I'm not mistaken, it's $15 for bronze, $50 for silver, $100 for gold, $150 for platinum, and $200 for silver. So
Diamond.
Or diamond. So if you enroll, if you want to make money right off the bat and get going fast, enroll some people. Talk about it. Tell them about it. Tell them about what wonderful things it's done for Addie, and get them enrolled. And you can begin to make what Charity calls right now money. You get paid that right away. The next thing that you can do is get into the position where you can earn cycle bonuses. Cycle bonuses occur when you get one person that's enrolled on your left side and one person that's enrolled on your right side. Right and left. Left and right, one on each side. And when that happens and you get a certain number, each time somebody buys either a membership or patches, points roll up. And when you get a certain number of points rolling up on one side, 330 and 660 on the other side, they're going to cut you a check for $50. So you can do that with just two enrollments of any kind on either side of you. And you can cycle twice if you have enough points rolling up, so you could be earning $50 a week. The next goal would be to become a manager. That's a little more complicated. You have to have two enrollments of silver on your left, two enrollments of silver on your right. You have to be buying at least 110 EV, which is roughly 2 patches a month, 2 sleeves a month, and you have to at that point in time be a gold. But when you get those qualifications met, you can cycle up to 30 times a week and get paid up to $1,500. Now that's all dependent upon how much business is coming up through your right and left side, but the potential is there for that. So you can make a significant amount of money in this business. The next thing that's going to happen is what we call generational matching bonuses. And those generational matching bonuses occur when people who you've enrolled on your first generation or your second generation or your third generation uh, have enough, they're making bonuses. Whatever their bonus is, you get 25% of it. You don't take it away from them. The company just gives you, in addition to paying them, company gives you 25% for that first level bonus, 20% for the second level people, and 30 or 20% for the third level people. And then there's also retail profit. You can buy these patches retail for $149.95. You can buy them wholesale for $99.95, and if you buy them in bulk, you can get them as low as $84. The company will allow you. Let's say I got a neighbor, I'm parked next to another RVer who needs some patches. I can take a patch out of my batch, walk over there, sell a sleeve out of my batch, walk over there and sell it to him for anywhere between $99.95 and $149.95, and I can keep the profit. So you can make retail sales with LifeWave and benefit that way. The last thing is I want to say have realistic expectations. Unless you're a real fast starter, and most of us aren't a real fast starter. Most of us like to have some experience with something before we get in with both feet. It's going to start slow, but you have the potential for doing it as quickly as you want to do the work for. It's not going to happen by accident. If you go to work for somebody and they say, I'm going to pay you $20 an hour for 40 hours of work each week, would you expect to have to go in and work 40 hours each week to get those $20 an hour pay? Sure you would. If you were going to start another business of any kind, you would expect to have to go in and put some, you're going to buy a franchise for McDonald's. You would expect to have to go in and put in some time flipping fries or flipping hamburgers and making fries in order to earn some money and get some profit out of that business. You're going to have to put in some effort in this business, not a lot, but enough that we call it work still. And you will profit if you are willing to do the work. So that's the way that we see that you can make money with the LifeWave business.
That's pretty good. See, that's why he's the math guy. I had to watch, video after video and come to all the trainings and ask a bunch of questions. Craig just gets it, he just gets it. So if that went too fast for you, if it's too confusing to you, I really encourage you to watch Charity's video 1 and 2 that's on that the Business at a Glance. And she just starts going through it, and stick with Charity's training. It's fine to listen to whatever else you want to listen to, but if you're at that point where I'd really like to do the business, there's so much good help here. So I'm going to put Addie back on the spot again. And I know she came into this pretty, what was the term you used? Pretty hard set. You weren't even going to get into this because it was snake oil. So tell us what happened to you, and tell us how you made that step over into deciding maybe I could make a little money with this too.
Well, I was probably the most reluctant person that Craig ever signed up, first of all. And part of that was because I had misunderstandings. I thought, and I was so convinced that I was right, stupidly, that I didn't even ask him for clarification. I thought that the enrollment levels meant you had to do that every month. And so it's like, well, I can't be gold or silver. I don't have that kind of money every month to do. But I had made my promise to God, so I signed up at bronze. And after 30 days and so many changes, I mean, I want everybody to have this kind of benefit, right? Like you just want the whole world to be patched and get this kind of benefit. But I was happy to share my story, but I didn't want to sell. But God had other ideas. And after 30 days, I heard him tell me, I want you to start selling the patches, which then ensued another argument between the two of us because I said, excuse me, God, you made me. I don't have a sales bone in my body. I can't do this. I don't want to do this. No. But eventually we kind of settled on, okay, I'll be obedient. I will sell. I'm willing to share my story with anybody and everybody that is willing to hear. But you have to bring the people to me. I'm not a cold caller. You have to bring me the customers that you want to have on this patch. And I kind of hesitate to share this last piece because it's a personal thing between me and God, and it's not what he's going to ask other people to do. And he didn't even really ask me to do it. But I said, because this is your business, God, everything that I make is going to go back to you. So, if you want this to succeed, then you have to make it succeed. And he's been amazing that way, just amazing. So, but Craig, something you said led me to a question. If you have the patches and you're selling them to cash for somebody else, how do you know whether to sell at the 149 level or the $99 level?
Choice is strictly up to you. You can sell them at wholesale cost if you want to. You can sell them all the way up to top retail cost. According to the policies and procedures, you're not supposed to sell them over retail. You can't charge somebody $175 a sleeve, but you can sell them up to $149.95 legally with the company. Now you're going to want to keep some pretty good records of that because you're showing a profit there when you're doing it, and
Right.
you have some tax implications on that profits. But you can legitimately take, if you buy them at the bulk price of $84 a sleeve, you can make some decent profit on each sleeve that you want to just stand out in the corner and sell them to people.
Okay.
It's perfectly all right. The only thing you can't do is you can't represent yourself as being LifeWave. You are a brand partner of this company.
Thank you.
All right. So you decided to do this. So who was the first person? How did you decide who the first person was going to be?
I didn't. God did. I had had that conversation with him on a Sunday night. Okay, but then you have to bring me the people. And literally 2 days later, I was meeting with someone who was very important to me. I hadn't even started sharing about the patches. I wasn't going to share about the patches. She started telling me about a trip she had been on where she had been introduced to them. And I said, oh, well, I've actually been wearing those for a month. And she gave me a look, and the bottom line was she ended up asking me, well, how do I get a hold of them? So she was my first sale. Within 2 days of me saying yes to God, there was my first customer. And they came in at silver. So it's like, okay.
And you just went on for there, and we can announce that Addie made manager in less than 3 months, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was less, it was like about a month and a half, I think.
Yeah. So
Cool.
she made it to that manager rank, and now she's probably not making $1,500 a week yet, but she has that potential now as those people below her make make orders and they begin to reach out to their friends to help them. That's then where that money keeps increasing as that ratio goes back and forth. So anything else you want to say about the business, or give me the business, or no, just say about the
I'll give you the business, Kathy. You have been
okay.
the most supportive,
Uh,
helpful, understanding, responsive upline person I could ever have asked or hoped for. So thank you both very much.
I suppose we have to blame that on God, huh?
There you go. And I
All
have
right.
two people that are interested in beginning to sell. So who knows?
Wonderful. Wonderful. All right. So I know we usually stop this, but I'm going to give some before we do question and answer. I'm going to give some very specific things to ask questions about because I'd like to let you have the ability to ask questions directly of Addie or directly to Craig for their proportions of this. But when you ask a question, keep it short. We're getting up to that time we want to stop. So keep your question short. Keep your question about your health or your wealth. We're not going to get into a big in-depth where you should wear the patches for whatever your problem is, because we don't do that. We don't diagnose, treat, or cure with the patches. We just know the clinical studies prove that the patches work for you. They work for you, even if you can't feel it, you can't touch, taste, or whatever. So if you have a question, if you can, down at the bottom of your screen, there should be a little reaction button, and you can raise your hand. I think it says raise hand now on some of the versions. Some of it's reaction. So anybody have a question for Addie? Question for Craig? This is your chance on the topics.